I don't know why. I was just like, huh.
Don't beat
Hello and
yourself
welcome to
up.
the Connective podcast. My name is Caden and I'm here with my co-host Jake. And today we're talking about the college experience and asking, is it worth it? Frankly, I say it kind of depends on your situation. Jake, where do you stand?
Um, Definitely depending on your situation. Um, During COVID, it's a lot more questionable, but um, I think nowadays you might not need a college education to go as far as you may have needed one in the past, if that makes sense. Um, we live in a very digital age where a lot of computer skills and um, abilities that they might not teach in school, but you can learn on your own, are more valuable than some of your freshman classes, and we have
Right.
some experience with that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think especially as, digital classes and all the certifications and stuff become more prevalent, it's kind of a little difficult to see why it's justifiable to spend however many thousands of dollars, I know like at SMU it's pricey for both of us even though we're both on some form of scholarship. And like when I look at the alternative of, okay, I'm majoring in finance, I'm majoring in, management science, or I could go on to Udemy or Masterclass or whatever and spend a total of, a grand and have 30 different certifications all in that area. I have a certification for Python coding direct, like targeted to finance. Like that, and I don't even have my finance major yet, but it's just a
Yeah,
useful skill apparently. So,
yeah,
you know, it's hard to just say, oh, yes, I'm going to, commit a lot of time, effort, and money to college when I have all these certifications that theoretically are just, are very valuable still in a resume setting. But that being said, it's also a college degree, and I think there's a level of necessity to it if you're interested in going into a specific job field. I think if you really want high paying white collar job, and I emphasize white collar because there's so many trades, there are so many, opportunities to make a lot of money both in and out of the white collar industry. But, it's like I work at a mechanic shop, you know that. And I've got buddies there making over 150 grand a year.
yeah,
And it's, that is some serious money.
yeah.
And none of them have gone to college. Half of them haven't even gone to technical school. And
Hmm.
that's just the way they've done things and the way they always will. And that's,
Hmm.
they didn't need to. So,
Exactly. It's it's kind of fascinating how some people like us choose to take this route, and then some people can take this route, but we're all trying to accomplish the same thing. Know what I mean? I think that's kind of weird, but also with the college experience um, factors in, making friends and the connections, and then the experiences like studying abroad, and then the professional opportunities. Foreshadowing a little bit to next week's podcast, but I think there's a lot more to it than just the educational part. And
right, yeah. And that's definitely true, right? Because then it's a question of, well, what opportunities do you take advantage of? And I know that's all more next week's stuff, but that raises a valid question, because I agree that the college experience, regardless of if you're talking about social or professional opportunities, is mainly about creating opportunities for yourself, for stuff in the future. So, at that point, it's like, okay, I see that, but, then is it worth that much amount of money, So,
yeah, yeah. Um, I think everybody has their own individual view on the
hmm
whole college experience, because I definitely questioned it when I was applying,
right.
and I started the process of researching and applying and stressing out about which one I'm going to get into or which one I'm not going to get into. It worked out for me, and I had to make a tough decision between two
hmm
schools I really liked. Um,
My top school rejected me. So,
You ended up on top though.
I mean, SMU was my top school. If anyone from SMU is listening, SMU is a great place, though. I'm not kidding. It was actually my number two choice, and the only one above it was MIT. So, that's not a criticism of SMU. That's just me being upset about not getting into MIT.
Yeah. So, but like I was saying, I really questioned it, but I definitely think all the stressing and all the work was definitely worth it, even for my first semester on campus during a pandemic. I
Right.
thought so. I'm very happy with how it all ended up, and I was never too upset because our bar is set really low. It can only go up from here
Our bar is set really low.
for the
That's
college
not
experience.
that's not wrong, you know? I mean, I had very few expectations going into college with that whole college experience thing. Because, everyone talks about, oh, the college experience is amazing. And honestly, even with the pandemic, I had a really good college experience. So, yeah, you're right. My bar is really low because I met a ton of people, you included. I, have had the opportunity for all the professional development, all the social interaction. Like, you know, it's been great. And that was with the pandemic. So I'd say right now the amount of money I am spending in college has been 1000% worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, we can't really speak for other schools. We can just speak on our experience, which is what this podcast really is. But SMU's done a very good job of doing as much as they can for us with all the limitations from the government and from people's views and stuff. And
Right.
I'm very happy with the first semester during a pandemic and the experience college offers.
And especially, like you said, we have only really kind of experienced what SMU has to offer.
Mhm.
But hearing some of the just conversations from some of my friends, like I mentioned 1 or 2 weeks ago that I had a friend at UNC who may or may not have gotten kicked off of campus just because COVID. And I had the opportunity, he's back in town now, and I had the opportunity to talk to him just about how that kind of ended up. And he was one of a very small number of people to be able to stay on UNC's campus. And the majority of his friends had to move off campus. And what they did is they ended up renting a house so they could live on campus technically. And I just have to think that is such poor campus management that you're, less than a month into the school year and your college experience has, that this college has provided has been, oh yeah, welcome. Everyone now has COVID. Everyone has to move off except for like 10% of the population. Good luck,
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
And there were pros and cons to that when that happened, but that's again where I'm thankful. Like, oh, SMU actually did a really good job managing that. So
yeah, absolutely. That's and I think being in Texas was good. I think being close to our home was good because you're right in Dallas and
mhm.
I'm 3 hours away.
Yeah,
Um, so
Siri doesn't understand.
Siri doesn't understand. I don't know how that happened.
Well, I mean,
We'll have to cut some of this out.
I don't think we can. I think we just have to leave it in at this point.
Just got to leave it in. All right.
Yeah. We
Perfect.
have Siri. We have our guest today, Siri. Thank you for joining us, Siri. What else do you have to say? All right, fantastic. And that was Siri. So, returning to the college experience, this is the worst podcast of all time.
Woo! All right.
I
Cut
still
out
think we
from
keep
like.
going. I mean,
Oh no, let's keep
we've
going
we've
for sure.
committed to this bit now,
Yeah.
so
No, we're good to go.
apparently it's a comedy podcast too, connecting you to comedy. Geez.
College, comedy, and cars.
Yeah, you know what?
Career,
We'll call that our interlude. We'll come in with
careers, college, comedy, and cars.
all right,
Yeah.
perfect. Our new motto.
Yeah.
But yeah. So college experience. Okay. Um I think the other challenge right now with the college experience, and I may want Siri's opinion here. I may need her to weigh in. But I think the other challenge with just the college experience without COVID even is just about, you know, making it happen, right? Because, with COVID, obviously that's exemplified. We had to really take the steps to go make it happen. But, I think a lot of people expect the college experience to just kind of happen, whether that's a social life, whether that's partying, or whether that's, grades, like whatever your college experience may be, there's a lot more effort involved in it than a lot of like Hollywood would make it seem.
Oh, 100%.
Like you can't just drive around and find a party. I'm sure you could, theoretically, with enough time and patience,
Yeah.
but you know, your odds are pretty low of that. And like I know for me personally, like I didn't really ever hear about a lot of the partying opportunities if I so chose to do that, which I didn't.
Yeah.
But, and then objectively, academically speaking, which is my focus, um, you know, it's again putting in the effort, right? Like
Mhm.
I think my total study hours per week were 15 to 30. It varied on the week. And again, I had to find opportunities to study. I had to make myself go study. The grades didn't just happen, unfortunately, which was,
Yeah.
a kind of a culture shock for me, and not a culture shock, I guess, but just an awakening. Because as someone who throughout high school, middle school, had just never had to study, had never had to, worry about anything, graduated with a 4.0, now college hits, oh wait, classes are, a lot more challenging and I need to maintain my GPA. So
Yeah.
there's, in terms of like keeping my scholarships and stuff. So there's definitely just an interesting pressure there that is new.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And did you go to a public school?
I did.
I did too. And high school for me was also kind of a breeze. I worked on the harder classes, and then the easier ones were, I don't know. I didn't really like how it was structured, and then came here, and like as soon as I got on campus and as soon as I got moved in, I instantly was just dedicated to school, and like I had my fair share of fun, but I definitely studied and worked and cared a lot more about school um, than I did in high school, or that I was expecting to do. But I don't know what it was. Maybe the fact that we're paying now
Mm,
or something. But
yeah.
I actually enjoyed my classes, and I got to, on a personal note, with at least several of my teachers. So I think it just kind of goes along the lines of what you were saying, the kind of difference between the
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, no. It is definitely just a higher effort environment too, which is oddly motivating, right? Because if everyone around you is studying for classes, doing huge things to develop their careers, or whatever end of the spectrum, like it's suddenly just very real the environment you're in, and it's one of those things where there's this kind of peer pressure to match it. I
Hmm.
feel the need to have A's in my classes because everyone else is studying ridiculously hard and getting
Yeah.
A's, B's, C's, whatever that, grade is for them. And, I have never looked down on low grades, whether that's, low passing grades. Um, but, now it's like if I have a B, this could seriously impact my scholarship because of the way SMU's GPA is structured. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. SMU definitely makes it tough with the A minus, B plus
hmm
kind of thing.
SMU, if you're listening, please change that. I'd like my money still. Thank you.
Um, yes.
But yeah, no.
I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting you then.
Oh, you're good.
But yeah, no, I think talking about, work-life balance, there's no need to study for like to an overkill point.
Yeah.
Like I know that going into college, someone from high school may say, really, you want me to study for 15 to 30 hours a week? I mean, yes, not a bad idea, but it's your prerogative, right? Studying is 100% the student's prerogative, and I just chose to put in that much work because it was what was
Uh-huh.
good for me. So,
And that's a big thing. I want to touch on what you just said. That's a big thing because in high school, my classes were an hour and a half. So, and we had four a day. And so if you, um, yeah, we had four a day, and you're in school for what, 7 or 8 hours,
right.
and you don't have a whole lot of time to do work. So you just kind of grind and do it all the night before or something like that.
Hmm.
But here, our classes are 40 minutes, maybe 45, and it's just what people do, especially during the week, during the day, during the week. You know what I mean? Because at
Hmm.
night
Yeah, no.
people go out, but that's just what you do. You have a 45-minute class, maybe you get some food, and then you hit the books. Like
Yeah.
it was much more easy for me to study in the library or in the business school or at the cafeteria than it
Hmm.
was to study at my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting once I got there because I was never used to studying that much, but I quickly got
Mm.
adapted to it because everybody else around me was staying up late working in the dorm, like our
Yeah.
study room there. And it was just so much easier to stay awake. People are at the library until 1 when it closes, 1 in the
Hmm.
morning.
Yeah.
Um, it's just what you do as a college student. If you don't go out, you're usually working,
Hmm.
and I think
Yeah.
that's so. It's much more easier to do that than
Yeah.
in high school.
I was not one to go out this semester, and I'm not one to go out in general. So, I found myself just sitting a lot of nights with the opportunity to study, and I always, not always, I usually took advantage of it. And that was huge for me, especially early in college, like in terms of setting the bar for myself. You know, I get that all the classes start easy, but it started particularly easily for me
Yeah,
just because of the fact that I was willing to just sit down with a textbook, with my notebook, with my notes for 2, 3 hours just that night and just study. I mean,
yeah,
take my notes, do homework, whatever I needed. That was great. So
absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. I kind of did a whole 180 this from the first day to the last day.
right.
I went into college thinking I was going to rush. I would go out whenever all our friends went out. I was trying to meet as many people as I could, but then like something clicked one day, like, and so now I'm not rushing, and I really don't plan on going out too much next semester just because you don't. That's not how you meet people. That's not how you meet people.
Hmm.
That's not like it's a terrible way to spend money, and I I think SMU in particular offers a ton of opportunities, and if you look past the social aspect of it, you taking advantage of those opportunities would get you so far, like
Yeah.
further than another person who hasn't, but you're in the same grade with some
Yeah.
class.
I I agree with that 100%. Like I think that yes, it's definitely like fun and enjoyable to go out. And I think that there is, I guess, a little bit of a social benefit to it, but it's just again, it's that do you really, need to? And the answer is not really. So, you know, like
Yeah,
it's definitely fun. It's definitely good socially, but it's not really a necessity. So, you know,
absolutely, 100%.
it's about finding that balance and, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
so I think we
I
only
think,
have about a minute left. So if you want to wrap it up, we can, or if
yeah,
there's
yeah.
closing thoughts you have.
I think the college experience, it's only as worth it as you make it.
Hmm.
I think however much money you pay, however much money you get, I think we're all kind of in the same boat, and because we're at the same school,
Yeah.
we have the same platform and everything. It's how do you choose to use your time on campus?
Yeah.
I
No,
think
I know.
that's a big deal. Having a good work balance, work play balance will be very beneficial, and
Right.
um, it's just a whole lot different than high school.
Yeah,
Any
no
incoming
kidding.
freshman anywhere, it's a whole lot different.
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment. And I think, especially if, our younger audience would like to, weigh in the comments or whatever you can, but it was definitely a hard shift for us and in a good way. So, I'm glad it happened and I'd say overall the college experience is definitely worth it if you're willing to put in the effort to take advantage of it.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
but yeah, so we thank you guys very much for listening, and we will definitely be back next week. I don't remember what we're talking about, so we'll.
I think we're talking about just kind of the opportunities. Oh no, that's week 5.
That's
We're
week
talking
5.
about grades, GPA,
Oh,
similar to this
fantastic! I will
kind of.
have very much to talk about then because while we were having this podcast, and the reason I was so distracted is because I just got my final management grade. So, with that in mind, we will talk to you guys again next week. So yeah, we'll stay connected.